Hello, everybody. Yes, I am Lundy Lewis, and I'm happy to be here from the U.S., from New Hampshire, so it's not too far from here. It's not just computer science, and it's not just electrical engineering, and it's not just mechanical engineering, but it's other disciplines like psychology, sociology, even philosophy. I say even philosophy, I can say that because that's what my background is, philosophy. So this is a humanoid robot. It's very expensive, I said, but I programmed the AI in it. This is a, what you call an animaloid robot, because it's shaped like an animal. This robot is used to help soothe elderly people. It's much like pet therapy, except it doesn't use the bathroom and it doesn't eat, but it's as cuddly and comforting as a little puppy or a cat, I think. This robot is good for things like narrative. That is, social interaction that involves simply exchanging information about one's past. And elderly people, you might have noticed, love to do that. They love to talk about their past. And this robot can be programmed with AI to do that. I'm a little bit anxious now because it's not working. I'd like to need that robot to soothe me a little bit. I think it's going to work. Here we go.
Hello everybody, it's good to see you. My name is Gibson. I am very happy to be here at the museum. Do you want to play?
So we can make that robot do most anything we want to: dance and recognize people, carry on a conversation, and you can probably understand why children are really attracted to the robot. It's about as cute as can be, and adults are attracted to it also. The problem is that it's very expensive. Did I say this $16,000 is what I paid for the robot about 5 years ago. And $16,000 in USD is something like $20,000 in Canadian dollar, that is today. Whereas this one, Jibo, which I can't run for you, is only $500. So it's much, much cheaper. And we do, in engineering and in practice, we have to worry about affordability. And so that's why I'm trying, one of my projects, turns out at the museum, at the Canada Museum for Science and Technology, is doing a formal evaluation of both of these robots as they interact with children, to see, again, if children are as attracted to this robot as they are to that. And Hooky is just a Amazon Echo Dot, sort of attached to the pilot's head via rubber bands. But it's not plugged in anywhere. And how do we do that? Well, I just went to, I think it was actually Walmart here, and bought a little battery pack, a power pack. I think it was $7, very, very cheap. And I used rubber bands to attach the Echo Dot to the power pack, and then used another rubber band to attach it to the head of the monkey. And this is a throwaway toy that my dog ruined just within the last couple of weeks. Now, you know how dogs like to get the little squeaker out? Well, the squeaker was halfway out. I said, good, I'll use this to make me a little robot. I guess I was going to make, that proved some kind of point. I don't know, maybe thinking outside of the box, maybe something like an engineering type of aptitude, but I really, really enjoyed just thinking about how can I make me a little robot very cheaply that might be effective, as effective as this $16,000 robot. Yeah, I don't know. Putting up a proposal for the Canadian government to see if we can get funding to work on a robot like this, a cheap robot that can help train people on with the intellectual or developmental disabilities. Because it's very expensive for human trainers to stay abreast of the needs of people with IDD. So it's an idea. Whether or not it will work, I don't know, but we have this interdisciplinary group that we want to work on that project. And I'm thinking something using Alexa, I like to call it Alexa, but it's really the Amazon Echo, with some kind of simple mechanical device, and I'll need the mechanical engineers to help with that eventually. We could build something that's simple and cheap and effective to help integrate people with IDD into society. And that's a very cool thing. Especially the U.S. government, I know, was funding all these research labs to work on AI until a professor at MIT illustrated that AI cannot learn a simple logical operator called the exclusive OR. Those of you in engineering, and maybe all of you, have probably heard of logical operators like and, quite simple, and, or, if, then, not, and so forth. And AI at the time could learn all these simple logic. It was thought that these logical operators were the foundation of all reasoning. So that's why there was an AI fever. Some of the societal impacts then for this third AI fever, it looks like it's going to be more of an impact than the last two fevers, because we've got autonomous cars that seem to be inevitable. Autonomous cars seem to be inevitable. What's going to happen if autonomous cars, and therefore autonomous trucks and autonomous buses, become a real thing? A lot of people are going to lose jobs, and I didn't know this until recently, but a large sector of society has jobs as truck drivers. So if it comes to be autonomous trucks, and as soon as 10 years, within 10 years from now, what's going to happen to the truck drivers? So, bots, that I have to speak differently when I interact with the robots. That is, if I want Gibson to understand me, I've learned to speak sort of loud and firm and clearly and distinctly. Otherwise, Gibson is not going to understand me. But I think that with the advent of robots, we're going to have to tighten up our language, and there's going to be some kind of a convergence between robots and humans, such that there is a kind of symbiotic relationship. We help the robots, and the robots help us. We're both better for it. We do this in cybersecurity sometimes. Some people get paid money to try to think of ways that we can do harm to society with certain objects, and usually computers or the network or something like that. These robots, say this one, Gibson, could be used for evil purposes. One obvious one, so I could get this could I get this robot to sweet talk an elderly person into depositing money from one bank account to another, or that sort of thing, or to go into the next room and murder somebody? No, that on my bad hat. So security breaches with the robots are much like security breaches in general.